Hello, everyone. It is great to be with you again today for another live webinar with FamilySearch. And today we have Virginia Shade with us, and we're so excited about that because she is an expert in Latin American studies, and she graduated and earned her degree in that from BYU in 2018. During her time at BYU, she worked in the family history department where she developed valuable skills in translating. You guys, I have something in my throat. That's the worst timing. Transcribing and extracting historical records. Currently, Virginia is working as a research specialist on the Latin America and Southern Europe team at the FamilySearch Library. And she is actively working towards accreditation as an accredited genealogist for Mexico, further deepening her expertise in genealogical research and historical documentation. We are honored to have you here with us, Virginia, to teach us about the FamilySearch family tree person page. And we encourage everyone to ask all of your questions to Virginia. I'm going to leave so she can take over and show you all the things. But please make sure that you tell us where you're coming from, where you're watching from, questions that you may have. And then just to let you know, we will be answering the questions at the end of the presentation. If you happen to be watching the replay, please ask your questions in the chat wherever you're watching anyways, because we will get those questions answered for you. So thanks again. Virginia, take it away.
Hi, guys. Hello and welcome. I'm so glad that you're here today. My name is Virginia Shade, and in this session, we're going to explore one of the most powerful tools in FamilySearch, and that is the person page. By the end of this class, you'll know how to add, edit, and standardize the information on a person's profile. And then you'll also understand the layout and features of the person page. You'll use the details tab to enrich your ancestor story, and it'll just be wonderful. But before we dive into the person page, let's start with what makes FamilySearch Family Tree so important and so special. And that is that it's unlike any other platform. This is a one shared tree for the entire human family. In other words, it's a communal tree, and it's the largest online family tree. It's easy to access, easy to share, and best of all, it's 100% free. And what's the goal? It's a profile for every person who has ever lived. As Steve Rockwood, the CEO of FamilySearch, once said, every person deserves to be remembered. Working on the person page is a chance to connect more deeply with the people who came before us. It's the place where names become stories and dates become lives. It's where we begin to truly understand and explain who our ancestors were. So it's a space where we can say, this is who they were, and this is why they mattered. Alrighty, so now that we understand why the person page is so important, let's take a look at how to get there and what you'll find once you're inside. So I'm going to walk you through the steps to navigate to a person page in FamilySearch and show you what it's like. Okay, so first, you gotta make sure you're signed in. Alrighty, so we just go on over to the left, the right-hand corner, and you should see a sign in. I'm already signed in, so I don't get that pleasure to show you at the moment, but this is the home screen. And you'll want to go into this family tree tab, and this is on the left side, and we'll click there. And at the top of that page, then we'll just click on the tree option. And it's the second one from the drop-down menu. And we'll just click there. Alrighty, and this will take us to the tree. And once the tree loads, which loaded pretty quickly, just click on the name on any ancestors you'd like to view. And this is my tree. I'll be working on one of my favorite ancestors, and her name is Virginia Alcantara Vasquez. And then we'll just click on her. And then we'll see this pop-up box from there. We have this information right over here. We have her picture and her name and a couple of information. And the important part that will get you to the person page is this little button right over here. But before we go there, I want to take a moment to share something personal. So, over the past couple of months, I've been working on my own family and to build out the person page for two of my ancestors, including my grandma, Virginia Alcantara Vasquez, who I actually was named after. As you can see, my name right over here. Um, and it's been such a meaningful experience. We've laughed over stories, uncovered long forgotten memories, as I worked with my family members, and we discovered details I never would have known otherwise, like my grandparents' poetic love letters to each other, or the fact that she was a respected leader in her community. As we worked together, something really powerful happened. I started to see my grandma not just as a person on the family tree, but as a full, complex, and deeply inspiring person. Someone who mattered, and someone who lived, and who left behind a beautiful legacy. I was lucky to know her, but even so, I feel like I know her a little bit more. And because of that experience, I'll carry her memory with me in a much deeper way. That's the power of the person page. It turns facts into stories and ancestors into people we truly connect with. Now, let me show you how to get there. We'll click on that person page or that person button. Awesome. So from the family tree, just click on this and on the person page, and you'll get to this page. And this is the person page. Um, and you'll notice that every page has the same layout. So even for living people, you'll see this page. The only difference is that living profiles are private. So only you'll be able to see what you've created on those. Um, let's walk through the top section of this page together. So on this top right hand corner, you'll see a photo of her or of your ancestor if there's one already uploaded. But if it's not, you can just click on here and then you can see a couple of options that you can choose from. Um, and then you'll see her full name, Virginia Alcantara Vasquez. That's her first name and her last names. She had two. And then right underneath, you'll see the birth and death date. And that is right over here on the 21st of May, and she passed on the 7th of February. The next part is the PID number, the person ID, in other words. And this is a 7-character code that FamilySearch assigns to every individual in this tree. It's really helpful for sharing or finding someone quickly, especially when you're collaborating with others. You just share each other's ID or PID. On the right side of the section, you'll see a few buttons. You'll see View Tree, and then you'll see the View Relationship and following. So the View Tree is which it leads you to her position on the family tree, and we'll give that a click, and then you see her as the main tree in the main tree. We'll just go back, and then the next button is the view relationship, and this shows how you're connected to this person. So I'll just click on that, and that'll show my grandma and her husband, Alfonso Barrios Garcia, and my mom and myself, and that's how we're related. Even list just the title of her relationship with me, which is my grandmother. Alrighty. And lastly, following. And this is my favorite one. So which you can just toggle on if you want to get notifications when someone makes a change to this person page. And if you hover over it, it kind of explains to stop being notified of any changes to this person, click follow or following to unfollow. The same thing. If you want to follow them, you just kind of click on that. Awesome. So that kind of gives you a snapshot of who this person is and how they fit into your tree. And below that, there are a couple of tabs there too. We have the about, the details, sources, collaborate, memories, and timeline. So about this time, or this tab, was just click on that. And this is a brief summary right over here, the brief life history of Virginia. The brief history um, or summary of her life. This one can be, this one's usually auto, it's just made by the system. So that one's really awesome. It gives you a little specifics of what was on the details page. And then you also have a timeline and some pictures right over here. The next page is the details page, and this is where we'll be focusing on today. So it's the heart of the person page, where you can view, edit, and add all the core information about your ancestors, like the birth, death, family relationships, and important life events. And then we have sources, and this tab is where you can attach historical records, documents, and citations that support the information in your ancestors' profile. We'll dive deeper into how to do this in some future classes, but yeah, it just kind of gives you an idea, and then we'll just go on to the collaborate. This one is another favorite of mine. You can add research notes here, post discussions, or communicate with other relatives who may also be working on this specific ancestor. You can also create something beautiful, which is called the alert note. And this is a message that appears at the top of the person page. It's useful. It's you can just add the note right over here, and you do the alert note, and it'll just kind of say whatever you want to add. Sometimes it could be very helpful when you want others to see this note before making any changes. I've had to use this one recently as there was a sister, my grandfather's sister, passed away when she was about a year old, and I saw that someone attached themselves to her and said that she was the spouse. It's kind of impossible as she was a baby when she passed, essentially. So it's really great just to put that alert now, like, hey, she passed as a baby, so it's kind of not going to be her. So great way to communicate. And lastly, we have, or memories. This is one of the most meaningful areas that I just super love. It's where you can upload and view stories, photos, and even audio recordings of the ancestor. And this helps bring their story to life in a very personal way. And we'll cover this in detail in another session as well. Lastly, now we'll have the timeline. And this kind of just gives you a little timeline tab that gives you like a chronological view of your ancestor's life. And the map feature, so you can see where they lived or moved over time. It's an awesome tool that you can use as well. Alrighty, so now let's just go over back to the details tab, and we'll just work on this most of the time. And this is where most of the core information is stored about your ancestor. And you can also manage it here. At the top tab, you'll see the vitals section right over here. Vitals, and other information, family members, other relationships, and the brief life history. And we'll go into detail there in a little bit. But let's stick with the vitals at the moment. So the vitals is this is that, and this is on the top. You'll see the vital section, and this includes basic but important information, such as her name, her birth, her death, her sex, her christening, and a burial. And this is the foundation of this ancestor's profile. And keeping it accurate and standardized helps ensure that records and hints will match correctly. Alrighty, so at the moment, most of her other vitals are filled out, but when you're adding something new, you'll want to add the line next to the field you want to update, And let's say we're adding this christening date. We'll add the date, and let's just put a date there. We'll just do December 5th, 1993. And if you can see right there, I just put 12/05, 1993, and it gives me two options. It gives me the 5th of December with the day being first, and then the month, and then the year. Or it gives me, if I see it the other way, in some areas of the world, they have the date first and then the month, and then 1993. Either way, you want to clarify that and just standardize it. And we will just click on that, and then we'll put the place of christening, which would probably be Zacatlan, Puebla, Mexico. And we'll just click that. And there's so many other options, but this was the option. And then you'll click on the reason this information is correct. And that could be because you found a record, or you also heard from a relative. And if you don't really know exactly, it's okay just to put like an estimation where she would possibly have been christened, and then you can update it later. Sometimes the system kind of goes through and just sees if there is something to match there, and then it'll pop up as a hint. But if you do have something a little bit more concrete as a source, you can just tag it, and then you'll just save it. At the moment, I'm just going to leave it like that. So I'll just exit out. And that's how you add. But now let's talk about how to edit. So let's say we're going to change her name because we saw it, or we learned that it was different. So we'll just go to this little pencil over here, and it just says, if you hover over it, it just says edit name. So we'll just click on that. And then we'll see the language template. If you need help in a different language, that's an awesome resource right there. The title, if they do have a title, and then we'll have the first name, which her name is Virginia, and the last names, Alcantara. And then you'll also put the reasons why this information is correct. Recently, we've tagged some sources over here where you're able to see, oh, this is where we got it from. This is exactly how it was spelled, and other resources here as well. And you can continue adding more sources just to back up that her name was Virginia Alcantara Vasquez. And then you just go on over here to save. And there's nothing really much to save at this moment because we didn't really make any edits, so I'll just exit out. But you do the exact same thing, the edits and adding to every category right over here. So it's simple. It's a great way to make it change. So nothing is really ever lost once you make some edits. So now let's scroll down over to the other information page. And this section is helpful for adding important details that don't belong in the vital sections, but still gives some context about your ancestor's life. We have alternate names, and we have events, and we have facts. And the alternate names is very important. You can add name, also known as, or birth name, a married name, or a nickname. At the moment, we added also known as Virginia Alcantara, as her second last name was dropped in a couple of records. So we just kind of did that just so we know that we can let the system know, and hopefully it'll provide a research help if it sees a Virginia Alcantara from that region. Or even we have different variety of how Vasquez is spelled. Some are with a Z, right, like right up here, and this one's with an S. So you can just put alternate spellings there as well. These details not only help build a more complete profile, but they also improve the chances of finding matching records in the family search. So a little story, I've recently had the privilege of seeing just how important this feature can be firsthand. It was And I was helping someone add their grandparents to their family tree. And while we were working together, he mentioned that his mom had once told him a story about his grandmother and that she had to use a neighbor's name in order to leave the country, mostly because she wasn't old enough to travel on her own documents. So we added the alternate name to her person page, and almost immediately, the family search began showing new record hints. And after reviewing them, we realized that they were her in those immigration documents. And once we found it, we've also included that alternate name, and it was a great way to be able to find that the system really does help when you give it those options as well. And how do we add it? We go to add alternate name right over here, and then you just click on what you're actually adding. You put a nickname, and then you'll just put the name and the reason why it's correct, and you'll just save it. If you want to make edits, you just go to the pencil, and then you just, let's say her name was actually, or that was actually her birth name. You can just save it like that. But we'll just leave that there. But that's how you edit and you add. And the same kind of the same thing you'll be doing with the add events. But the add events is a little different. It's just this is where you add in important life events that go beyond the basic vital details, things that help feel the story of your ancestor's life. So let me show you how you do that. You click on the add event right over here in this corner, and you have a lot of options here. You have affiliation, bar mitzvah, a bat mitzvah, cremation, immigration, military service, naturalization, title, nobility, occupation, residence, stillborn, custom events. You have so many options to choose from. And each one is very important, as this world is so different and vast, and people immigrate and people are naturalized and they change occupations or where they live even. But this information is just really important as well. Um, it's a great way to see exactly that where she was living. Here in my grandma's example, we have that she was living in Zacatlan. She was born and raised there, but then she moved in 1933, and you could just see how the journey of her life. Um, another person that I want to see a little bit or talk about is Walter Elias Disney. And as many of you guys know, he is Walt Disney. Um, we can see that also known as Walt Disney, and he is the founder of Disneyland. So a great way to get some happiness here as well. We see the events here where he's lived. We see um, more residencies and or residents in Illinois, Los Angeles. We also see military service here for him. We see when it was a registration for a military draft, and when it was, um, we see an occupation, a founder of Walt Disney Studios, and immigration when he went to United Kingdom to visit. You can see more information about it here, and again, the sources that are tagged along with that. So just awesome information here as well. Just wanted to show you as he has quite an eventful page. Alrighty, so now let's go back to this other part on the facts. The facts is just as important. You'll see different options here. National identification, if they do have one, national origin, no couple relationships or no children, which are also really important, as if they don't have a relationship or were never married or they never had kids, that's really good to also show. And physical description, race, tribe, or custom fact. We'll go back to Walt Disney over here and see what his facts are. We see he has a physical description of 5'8", light brown hair, brown eyes, etc. And these are the tags or the sources that were tagged as well. So pretty awesome stuff. Now let's kind of close this up right over here and let's see the family members part. So this is a pretty awesome part as well. As you can see that there's two columns. We have the spouses and children on this side and the parents and siblings on this side. You see that this is his spouse, Lillian Marie Bounds, and also their marriage. And that can be edited as well, just like the other previous times we were editing. You can edit here. And the sources, this one looks a little different though. So just take some time and just read. You can change the different things like edit reasons. And we'll just take a look at the marriages as well and some more facts. So this one is an awesome point for you to add the marriage. And then we have his daughter and his second daughter as well, Sharon. And Sharon has a interesting thing right over here. She shows that she was adopted in 1936 by Walter and Lillian. And that shows that she was adopted in 1936. So right when she was born, she was adopted as a baby. So that's a really interesting thing that you can also put that they're either adopted or biological. Usually doesn't really say much, but you can add biological by just going to add relationship type. And then we'll just see here, there the drop down has the adoptive, biological, foster, guardianship, or step. So we'll just leave it how it is. And you can do that exact same thing to the mother. And we'll just go to add relationship type. And then you can see that same options right over here. We'll just exit out. And this we'll have a different class that will cover this. So no need to be super overwhelmed because this one can get a little messy sometimes if it isn't done right. But that's okay. And then again, here are his parents. So Walter's parents, Elias and Flora. And we see his siblings right over here as well. So that's something we can do. Or also if let's say Walter had a different spouse, we can just add that over here. And then he'll have two spouses. And we can see that we'll just go back to my grandma for a little bit. As she has a great example of that. So she was once married to an Alberto Valencia Diaz. She was married in 1935, so she was 15 years old, and she had two children with him. And then later on, she was married to Alfonso, which is my preferred because he is my grandfather. And she had more children here. And we can see that my grandpa adopted Elvia as well as his own. And this is in order as well. As you can see, 1938 to 1942, it's going in order. If we don't know a person's living or their birthday, it'll just be placed on when it was entered, or it may not be in that order of oldest to youngest. But again, you can also add if you don't know who the spouse was, you can just put also as child of an unknown father. And we just try to be as specific as we can. The more the merrier, but if we don't know, that's okay. The more we can research. So that's adding a family. And now we're just going to go down to another really important thing, and that's other relationship. And as we add other relationship, we can see you can add a person by their ID number or by putting that information in. And the relationship right over here in the drop down, you can also add that. And it could be apprenticeship, employment, enslavement, godparent, household, neighbor, or even relative. but you can also put that under other relationship. And that can help with other, just finding your ancestor if you just know their employment or household or even enslavement in that as well. So we'll just exit out of that for the moment. And then the last part, which is my favorite part, which is the the brief life history. And the brief life history is it's what gives it a little bit more life, this profile. And this is the one that we have for my grandma. It explains her life, just a brief one. It does have a limit of 10,000 words, so did quite hit that 10,000, but that's okay. Um, and if you want to, you could come back and edit it, or you can add more to it. You can, um, but in reality, this is just a way that you can go in and give them a, or your future generation, just a little bit more um, information about your ancestor. And I love this part. Again, you can see all the changes done, the reasons the information is correct. It's kind of the same thing. We try to keep it a great way for us to um, see those changes done or where we got that source from. So that's awesome. We'll exit out of that. And now we're just going to go to another part over here, which is where I'm going to scroll up to the research help. And research help is incredible. And especially with AI going on at the moment, it really does give you great quality hints. And they just give you possible historical records that might match your ancestor, research suggestions, or even data problems. So that's if there's some inconsistencies or possible duplicates. That's where it'll show you right over here. Um, and then right underneath it, we have the search records, and that just gives you an idea of where you can research as well. Gives you links to like FamilySearch, Ancestry, MyHeritage, etc. And clicking on these links will automatically run a search using the information on your person page to that site. So that is a wonderful resource, especially if you're in the family search centers. Um, they'll have a little bit different search records over here, but it's essentially the same thing. Alrighty, now let's go down to the notes. So we kind of covered the notes previously. You can just add general notes about the ancestor, or even add the alert note as well. And lastly, we got the latest changes, and that is just what we've done. We've attached some photos, brief life history, event changes, and it just shows you what you've done with the date and who did the edit. Awesome. And now lastly, we have the tools, my layout settings. So the tools at the bottom has a couple of options that you can see. We have my layout settings, which is how to change the person page and how it looks, or possible duplicates, or you can even merge by ID if you come to realize that those duplicates are in reality your ancestor, you can just merge them together. So that's another incredible resource. We have the report abuse or delete person, and especially if you didn't create them, you really can't delete the person. And then there's the print options, which I love so much. You can print the options right over here, and it gives you different options of printing. You can do the fan chart, family group record, or whatever you just want to, or you want to print the whole thing with the sources, you can print that option. And that's really great if you like to work with paper as well. Alrighty, so that concludes the person page. And I think that this is just the most beautiful part of Family Search. As I previously mentioned, it's a great way for us to get started to getting to know our ancestor. It's important, but Before I conclude, I just wanted to share a link, and that is just to show you guys, like, if we went too fast or went to a little too slow in certain parts, feel free to look at that link. And it's a great overview of the person page and how you can use it as like key details or how to collaborate with others. And feel free to bookmark it. It's a great guide to come back um, as you continue doing your family history or having this journey. And so, yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're feeling a little bit more confident or empowered to use the person page to help your tell your ancestor stories. But before we also leave, I want to leave you guys with a challenge. Are you ready? Your challenge is this: choose an ancestor or add a family member to your tree. And fill out the person page as fully as you can. Add details, add stories, explore the features we talked about today. And if you're not quite ready for it, that's okay. You can just take some time to explore the person page and then learn a little bit more about it. Try things out, learn by doing. Because here's what I can promise you: the more care and attention you give to a person page, the more meaningful your family history experience will become. You'll begin to discover connections, uncover stories, and feel a deeper sense of belonging. You'll start to see your ancestor not just as a name, but as a real person, as someone who lived and who mattered and who left a great legacy behind. And as you build your profile, you're also creating something powerful for the future, a place where others can connect, learn, and feel the presence of someone they've never met and now will never forget. And that's why family history matters. Thank you again for being here with me today. I'll now turn the time over to Erin Schertz. Thank you, guys.
Hi, Bridget. Thank you so much. That was amazing. So much great information and something that seems so simple, and yet there's so much detail that you can add. And I actually learned a lot from everything that you shared. As a reminder, if you're watching, please put your questions for Virginia. We had a lot of people coming in. I just wanted to say hello to some of you. Deantre Casas listening from Junín de los Andes, Argentina. Welcome. That is so cool. Cynthia Gerard, Arizona has been my home for the last 50 years. That is a great place to call home. I'm glad that you're watching from Arizona. William actually came in and said, I just want one question answered, but then didn't ask the question. So I'm just going to post this here, William, and encourage you to ask your question so that we can get that answered for you. We would love to. Shirley is coming in from Los Angeles. That's where I was born. So we have a connection there, Shirley. Very cool. And let's see. So many people responded and just said, thank you so much. That was such helpful information. From Shelly. Patricia, thanks for commenting. Great review of the person page. I completely agree. We also had a lot of people watching from our Roots Tech page. A lot of these classes, all of these classes are on Roots Tech. So if you're new to these webinars and you want to go watch past ones, you can always go to rootstech.org and you can find all the classes that are there from the past. So please check out that resource as well as all the other classes that you can find. And yeah, we're so grateful that you were here today. And Virginia, thank you so much for spending your time with us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Oh, I was so nervous, but you guys were just great. And thank you so much for listening.
Oh, I couldn't even tell. If you were nervous, no one could tell. We're just very grateful for you spending time with us. Make sure you ask your questions in the chat, because even after this is done, we are live right now, but even after this is done, we will read the chats and we will answer your questions. Oh, and we actually just had 2 questions come up. So hold on. We have a moderator that is grabbing questions from our Roots Tech page. And here's one. So I can't put it on the screen, but I can read it out loud. From Deborah, she says, on my FamilySearch, there is a dotted line around the ordinances. What does that mean? Do you know what that means, Virginia?
A dotted line over the ordinance?
Around the
No.
ordinances.
Ooh, I'm not sure. That is a really great question. Feel free to take a screenshot of it and maybe send it to any support at FamilySearch.org, and they can help you out there. I'm
Yeah,
having a hard time visualizing it, but yeah, feel free to take a screenshot and send it to them.
yeah, absolutely. Deborah, thank you. And that's a great resource. And also we're on it. So we'll try to get you an answer to your question here as well. And then another one, this is really interesting question. Can we go over how to add if the child is adopted or biological? Do you want to
Yeah,
share the
sure.
screen again? Let me
Yeah, for
open that
sure.
up so you can show it. Great question.
Oh, is it still showing? Can you see?
It is now. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so what you can do here is you can go to the family member, and let's just choose Elvia right over here. We'll just click on the pencil. So if you already have her added, you just go to the pencil right over here. We'll just click on that. And then we'll just add the relationship type to the people that you want to attach that name to. And that's where it says biological, adoptive, foster, guardianship, or step. And we'll just click on the step one. And then you just fill out the information on the date and the reason why this information is correct. And then you'll just save it. So let's just repeat that just one more time. So we'll go to the person that you want to add as a stepchild or biological or adoptive. You click on the pencil, and then you go up to the parents. You'll have to do this for both parents. And then you add the relationship type. And then on that drop box, you just click on whatever relationship you want to add. And then we'll accept that. But that's essentially how you go in and change that to the step or adoptive. Mhm.
Excellent. Thank you so much for showing us that. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Do we have any other questions that have come in? Thank you to those that have joined and asked your questions. We're grateful that you're here. Every Thursday, we have a webinar with great information about FamilySearch products, other aspects of genealogy and family history. And so make sure to go check out what's coming on either FamilySearch or Roots Tech Facebook, Instagram, X, or rootstech.org, where we show you what's coming up next. And thanks again, Virginia, for your time today. Everyone have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.